Hello, I'm Stephen Eng, and today we are going to be talking about the review of Lion King. So let's get started. First off, congratulations, Disney. It was actually really good. I would say that this is the best um, Disney film from a animation to a live action that they have done so far. This is by far the best one. But was it really that hard to do this one? Really? The problem that a lot of these Disney movies were having, especially Aladdin, which I thought was had moments of being good, but was also extremely crappy, especially that Jasmine song that they put in there about her basically hating men and stuff like that, which was just ridiculous. It's a song you would never listen to on the radio, but we're talking about Lion King. With these Disney movies, it's very difficult to transfer from animation to live action. Even though Lion King was CGI, it was still considered a live action movie. And Aladdin was more difficult, I believe. They could have done a lot better job with Aladdin, but with Lion King, it wasn't that hard. It wasn't that hard to transfer into a live action. They had the blueprints for it, and they did quite a good job. Except my biggest problem was that the voice acting wasn't great. Some of the actors, like Mufasa, returned to do the voice, and it sounded like Earl Jones, his name is, I think. Like, he just didn't care. A lot of them didn't seem like they put a lot into it. There was so much more into the animation, and I'm talking the animation was darker for the animation one. The shots were more extreme. If I was to go into it, when Simba is sees his dad die, that scene was way more intense and emotional in the animation, which is a damn shame because they could have had that in the live action as well. There was the stampede, and in the live action one, there was a few of them, but in the animation, there was hundreds of them, and that's why it messed up Mufasa. And just most of the scenes, and they also cut out songs. They cut songs short, like "Be Prepared." They changed "Be Prepared," and that was shorter. So things that I believe that they should have focused on to make the movie more emotional, they didn't. And things, and they shortened things that they shouldn't have. They shortened songs. They added things that they really didn't need to add. So, I mean, the story was still great, and the CGI, it looked great. It looked awesome. Um, but like I said, it was watered down. It was very watered down. Seth Rogen and the other actor that played Timon and Pumbaa, they were good. They were good. They were really good. But the rest of the actors was like this child Simba was nowhere near as good as Taylor Thomas. There was just wasn't feeling to it. There wasn't. It was like they were just saying the lines from the original, and that's it. They weren't really putting any acting into it. They focused more on the CGI. So, I mean, I want to give Disney the benefit of the doubt and be like, yeah, they made a good live action movie. They didn't care about this either. This was also yet another cash grab because the CGI must have took a long time to do. You could have got actors to redo those lines and say them more emotionally. Scar was good. He was pretty good, but he didn't say things as evil as the original Scar did, I don't think. And Mufasa, when he gets thrown uh, by Scar, he says, brother, Scar, help me. And then in this new one, he just says, brother. You know, it was like they just threw everything into a blender and shit that shit out. Again, it was good. It was I think one of the best live action Disney movies by so far. But again, the emotion was taken out of it, just like Beauty and the Beast. Other people might love the live action movies, but I think with the CGI, also the characters, I get it. The characters, they wanted to look more. They wanted it to look real. They wanted the animals to look real, but there was no expressions. They didn't have any expressions in the face, and they didn't have really a lot of expressions in the the voice acting. Why they got Beyonce to be in this movie? She didn't do a bad job, but did Beyonce or her alter ego play this fucking part? What the fuck? You don't need Beyonce. Get the fuck out of here. Why the fuck did you get Beyonce? Because she can sing? Get the fuck out of here, Disney. Get Beyonce's bitch ass out of here. They changed a few things that it was interesting, like, for instance, um, Simba's mom and Scar actually says, "You chose my brother Mufasa over me," and that was new, and that was a cool idea. There is a cameo or not a cameo, but a line that's referenced towards Beauty and the Beast, which I thought was cool. Timon and Simba are singing, or they're offering Timon as dinner to the hyenas, and or I'm sorry, Pumbaa, and Timon says, "Be get," and then he screams. That was pretty funny. The hyenas were all right. Instead of having three main hyenas, they had a bunch of hyenas, and I thought the characters, they were kind of stupid. I would have had the way they had it in the original cartoon, where the one was kooky, crazy, and so they changed that, but I'm not picking on that so much. I guess my biggest peeve about it is the lack of emotion. It really felt watered down. Now, Disney is really big, and there's no stopping them. I know. But Disney has no more new ideas. Walt Disney's dead, and when he died, the rest of Disney went with it. They have no more real good ideas. And that's why they're just shitting out these movies left and right. And before a new one is even introduced, they're already making 10 other Disney movies into live action. And they're literally just following blueprints of the original animations. And this is a cheap way of making lots of money, which shows they're not trying to make new ideas. They're not really attempting to make new ideas. They're just shitting out things they've already done, which is really sad. Which is really sad to see that Disney now is not creative anymore. Another sad thing is that Disney made Emperor's New Groove, and that didn't do well, and that was really hilarious. But maybe the reason why, they tried doing something new, it didn't work, so they're like, fuck it. Let's just redo things that we already know were successful. And that's exactly what they're doing. But the problem to me with that is, again, they're not putting any care into it. They're just saying, shit that shit out. And again, Lion King, it wasn't bad. It was not bad at all. It was just the emotion was not there. The music was there, but these people don't know how to tell stories anymore. They don't know how to bring out the emotion. And that's not just for emotional snowflakes. That's for people that love movies. It's just like sex. If the other person's not into it, you're probably not going to be into it. It's obvious they're not into it. They're just, whatever, Jim. Just, did you see the original? Just make it like that, okay? Get the fuck out of here. The monkey, I forgot his name. Grafiki? Um, he was boring. God, he was boring. They did not use him at all. There's a scene in the animation we know where he's kicking ass and he does a backhand to one of the hyenas. They didn't have that in there. There were a lot of things from the original that they should have had, and they didn't have it. They did not have it. Overall, like I said, it was it was a good movie. Your kids will love it. But maybe not. Maybe not. One child in the audience actually said, "I'm bored," while we were watching the movie. So maybe that child had already saw the animation, so they knew it was gonna happen, and that's why they were bored. But I'm just saying, like, even some kids were like, "I'm bored." My favorite Disney animation would have to be Alice in Wonderland. And Tim Burton and Johnny Depp already fucked that one up royal. So I guess I'm in the clear now because I don't care a lot about the other Disney movies. Jungle Book I thought was a big pile of trash as well. Um, I can't wait till they make a remake of Peter Pan and how they fucked that up. And Pinocchio. Um, but it's just obvious that these people, the drawings themselves, all these drawings, they put care into it. They had to draw each picture, each page, had to color it. And they said, why stop there? We're also going to make the acting really good too. And Earl Jones just seemed like he did not give a fuck about this movie. He just, like, he already said the lines, they paid him, and he went, all right, I'll say it again. Like if you were a fan of his on the street and you were asking him to do Darth Vader again or something. When Simba grows up in this one and he goes to see his father says a few things. Doesn't say, remember who you are. You are my son and true king. He doesn't say that in the live action. He says a few damn things, and Simba just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, changes his mind. Is like, I gotta go back home. And he goes back home. There were key elements that made this story so great. And they brushed it off. They just brushed it off. And it made it fucking weak. It made it fucking weak sauce. I was watching the movie for a good hour and I was like, damn, like, this is pretty good. But at the same time, I still cried over Mufasa's death. But it was nowhere as emotional as the animation. And that's just sad that an animation can bring out more emotion than a live action movie. Plus, I'm not patting fucking Disney on the back because it's not like this was extremely hard to do. You had fucking blueprints of the animation. And like I said, these other movies are a little harder to bring to the screen, live action. But Lion King, look at it. Look at the story. Look at, that's an easy one. That's an easy one. So the fact that they did good on the easy one, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. You go to Walmart now and you can't help but see all the Lion King toys and everything. That's what this is, of course, is about. Is it's a fucking cash grab yet again, and it could have been a lot worse, but it also could have been a lot better. You and your family will enjoy it, but if you're real big fans of Lion King the original, and you see this one, the opening was the best. The opening looked just like the animation, and I understand that you do want to change certain things, maybe to bring up to the new generation. But like I said, Simba's father dying, and the song "Be Prepared" by Scar. That was Scar tricking the hyenas, saying, "You can't live without me. You need my help." And in this one, that wasn't really, the song was shorter and it was just about killing Mufasa, and it didn't hit. It didn't hit as well as the animation, and that's what disappoints me the most, is that you have this really great story, and instead of you, they didn't want to, obviously they didn't want to make it dark, and there were so many close-up shots. The fight scene between Mufasa and Scar was cheap. It was cheap. It was very watered down, and that's a damn shame, because the live action was more intense, and they could have made it darker. But the reason why these people, they're not making things darker, is because Hollywood isn't doing as well. You have a world now full of people where you can't say anything to offend them. So they're already losing money. And that's not hard to believe. Look at Toys R Us. Look at these stores that are really big and they're losing money. Toys R Us had to change their name just to stay alive. So even though Disney's still making shitloads of money, they're not making as much money, as they used to, or, a lot of these studios are not making as much. So they're trying to avoid hurting people's feelings. And that's why everything's getting watered down, because they can't afford to lose any more people to not go see their movies. So that's basically what's happening, and we're having to suffer for it. But that's what movies are. Movies are allowed to be emotional. Movies are allowed to be dark. A lot of the stories that Disney came out with were dark. They were very dark. And as you know, Walt Disney's mother died, and I think he thought he was the one that killed her. So that's why a lot of the times in the Disney movies, there's the mother dies, and that's part of. So the stories are already dark, but now you're getting new storytellers to come in and say, let's make it bright, let's make it happy, and it's like, how the fuck can you make this happy? It's a story about a fucking lion that loses his father because his brother is evil and wants to take over the pride, and is even willing to kill the little son, Simba. So you had a really good chance to really tell a really good story, and like I said again, it was good. It was good, but it was watered down. And I don't know why you chose Beyonce to be in the fucking movie. She did not have to fucking be in there. Just like she didn't have to be in Austin Powers 3. That bitch doesn't have to, let her play her fucking CD songs and just get her the fuck out of here. And she's crazy. I think she's fucking crazy. And let her have her fucking alter ego. The bitch is fucking crazy. I don't. Honestly, at this point, I guess, I don't even give a fuck about their Disney movies anymore. I expect it to be shit, every single one of them. It's obvious they're just shitting these things out just to make fucking money, and I'm really kind of over it. But I had to at least speak my 2 cents for all the people that are probably going to talk about how wonderful The Lion King was and how great it was and Disney's a bunch of geniuses. I just had to be one of the people that say, no, they're not. No, they're not. No, anybody that has a good CGI probably could have made this fucking movie better. And it's like, they did watch it, but they could have went further. And it's obviously these people are very shallow. And again, this was just a straight up fucking cash grab. I don't know how. This movie was like an hour and 58 minutes. So it was a lot longer than the animation. Yet it still seemed to go by very quickly and cut through a bunch of shit that the original animation was focusing on, and made it longer except took out all the emotion. And that's a big problem. You can't tell movies without emotion, unless you're just making a stupid ass fucking comedy where you're supposed to be brainless and not be thinking, and it's a movie for you to come home when you're half drunk or half fucking asleep and fall asleep to. They're not doing this with these movies. And Lion King was one to really throw in the emotion. Fine. Aladdin, the live action, they didn't have it either, where what made Aladdin a good guy? What made Aladdin, when he goes and saves the kids, when those kids, when he gives those kids the food that he was running, and he gave those kids food, after all that whole chase that he did, that showed Aladdin's character. That was important. That wasn't there. When that asshole comes in to visit Jasmine, and Aladdin comes in and he says, "Look, Abu, it's not every day where you see a horse with two rear ends." And then he turns around and says, "You will die a street rat. You will, and only your fleas will more, shit like that." They took that out of Aladdin. This isn't a review for Aladdin, but what I'm saying is that's what I'm talking about. They took out important things that made the story. Aladdin wasn't just some guy that was nice. There were things about him that made him special, and they didn't have those elements in the movie, which means they fucked up. That's what it means. On this one, it also means they fucked up. Now, all I'm saying is The Lion King is a lot better than what they've been making. It's a lot better. But again, that's not saying much. That's not saying much. And I think it's quite pitiful that they could not tell the exact same story with the same amount of emotion or more emotion while having fucking blueprints of the original and being like, "Oh, so this is, oh." No. You just watch it real quick like this. Okay, let's do it. And that was it. So, I know it's not going to happen, but we need to stop giving Disney money. Walt Disney's dead. Disney's dead. It's not coming back. Maybe get the new Blu-rays of the old ones on Blu-ray. But this is bullshit. This is bullshit, Disney. Really. For the amount of money you guys make, and you can't tell a fucking story, and you water things down, you're obviously protecting your asshole because you don't want to lose any more money. And that's just pitiful. I'm Stephen Ang. If you don't agree with me, sorry. But that was my review of Lion King.